Alright, good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to bring you a very important update on the graph GRT. I see a few very interesting things happening in the technicals. So in this video, I'm going to run through some technical analysis, talk about what is happening both short-term and long-term. So please, if you like the sound of that, like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. I really appreciate it. And if you would have been with us and stayed tuned to this channel, you could have gotten in back when I was ringing the alarm bells, back when the graph was at 65 cents. So, like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell icon, be notified of new uploads. You keep it up even after the dip, well over 200%. So, folks, stay with us. Now, I want to ring the alarm bells once again because I see some actually very concerning things happening with the graph. That being, we've had a massive run up, hundreds of percent of growth recently, parabolic growth. And what are we seeing? We're seeing macro lower highs and macro lower lows. So, it's not the end of the world. I don't want to cause FUD and FOMO. We're going to delve into some nuance here and some, some things we all need to be aware of here. So let's begin that process. Why don't we begin by looking at our indicators here? So let's start off by looking at the daily here. So daily is looking very concerning because if we cannot find support at this level here on, I'd say, the 50 EMA on the 6 hour, if we cannot hold that as support, and if we see a rejection off this EMA and we go for that leg down, that may result in a bearish crossover on the daily MACD. If that happens, that is very bad news bears. That is very no bueno, extremely bearish. Now, let's take a look at the 12 because the 12 looks very concerning. If we take a look at the RSI here, we're getting bearish divergence on the RSI, which, folks, at the same time, like, I don't mean to cause FUD. This makes sense. We've had a massive run up. A pullback is healthy and to be expected. I don't think this is the end of the world, but I do see some bearishness that I think, could lead GRT to have further correcting. But we'll hash this out some more here. We're just getting started. So yeah, bearish divergence on the RSI, stochastic RSI on the way down, weighted MACD on the way down. MACD on the way down, so 6 hour looks bearish. Take a look at this. 12 hour looks bearish. Let's take a look at the 6 hour. Yeah, still bearish. The only thing that looks bullish is bullish crossover on the stochastic RSI. Other than that, everything here is bearish. Let's take a look at the 4. Bearish. Let's take a look at the 2 hour. Okay, 2 hours we're starting to see some signs of some strength. MACD starting to tick up. Weighted MACD, bullish crossover, stochastic RSI on the way up. Regular RSI, approaching oversold, going for a little bit of a leg up. So okay. Now something to note here on the RSI here on the 2 hour, which is this. We're kind of forming this a resistance line here, something of a descending triangle. So if we start to see bullish divergence from this red resistance line on the 2 hour, I think it'll be very telling for price action on GRT. If we start to break above this, that could really help us solidify this important critical level that we're at right around $2 as support. $2 is really the I think an inflection point for GRT because we're making lower highs and lower lows and we're right at a psychological support / resistance level. I think whether we hold this as support or fall below, I think will be very telling for near-term price action next few days, next few weeks here. So yeah, that's something to keep an eye out for in terms of the 2 hour. And yeah, okay. Now I was gonna say we had bullish divergence, but not quite yet. So let's take a look at this. Okay, we're kind of getting bullish divergence on the RSI. So if we make a higher high, that could confirm what seems to be at first glance bullish divergence on the RSI. So that could really help if we see a higher high in the RSI on the hourly. That could help solidify GRT above $2. So just to kind of summarize here, we're seeing a lot of weakness on the larger time frames. On the lower time frames, we're trying to see some signs of some strength. Ultimately, I think kind of the most important thing to look out for, the kind of inflection point, the thing that will make or break GRT in the short term is $2. I think if we cannot hold $2 as support, I think we're very likely to go for that leg down, maybe make a lower low, or maybe we just find support once again on the 100 EMA on the 6 hour and make a higher low if $2 cannot hold. Because specifically, I think the most important range to look out for and the most important support level for GRT is the 100 EMA on the 6 hour. If we look back, okay, last time we were pumping, we pump, dump, found support on the 100 EMA, pump, dump, found support on the 100 EMA. So the 100 EMA has been solidified as whenever we dump a strong support level. So, and that is exactly where we found support once again. So moving forward, I think this is going to be a very strong support level. If we cannot, if we do go for that next leg down, and if we test the 100 EMA on the 6 hour, and if we can't hold that as support, if we start to break below and close below the 100 EMA on the 6 hour, I would start to get worried that GRT is no longer bullish in the short term. So to understand if we're going to test that, and again, if we do test it, there's no guarantee we'll fall below. We could test it once again and hold it as support. So kind of, I think $1.63. Yeah, dollar. Yeah, if we start to drop below $1.70 to $1.60. If we start to fall below that, I would start to be worried that GRT is no longer short-term bullish. Now, just to kind of inject some the long-term outlook here, because it's important to be nuanced and it's important to understand what GRT does. So GRT helps developers plug into different sources of data. So I believe GRT it's essentially like an API service. I'm very bullish on it. I like the idea long-term. So I think over the long term, GRT has a good chance of performing very well, even if in the short term we may have further consolidation potentially, because for me, this is an idea that a lot of people want to use moving forward, regardless of boom and bust cycles. It has good fundamentals, good use case, seems to already have real-world partners, and its use case seems to be growing. So over the long term, I don't hold any GRT just because there's so many good coins out there. It's really hard to choose one or the other. But I like the idea. I think it can do well over the long term. And so, as if you were a long-term investor in GRT, I mean, I don't think this is anything to necessarily panic over. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. These videos are not financial advice. I'm not telling you guys what to do. Now, if we can hold $2 and if we can hold the 50 EMA on the 6 hour as support, then I think we have a good chance of tackling kind of $2.20. I think that's our next major resistance zone. Okay, we get a peak in VPVR volume. So this is kind of the point of control. If we do hold this, we may go up and find rejection here. If and when we can test $2.20 and hold that as support, I think GRT has a very good chance of seeing bullish continuation and perhaps testing this red slanted line, this red resistance line. If and when we can get above and hold above this resistance line, I think we have a very good chance of testing these regions and all-time highs here in earning price discovery. Basically, the more of these red resistance lines we tackle, the more likely I think it is that we continue tackling further resistance levels and seeing further bullish trending. So if we can tackle all-time highs and get above that, I think kind of our next major impulse is $3.30. Aside from that, I think $3.70 aside from that. And over the long term, I think GRT, I don't know this for sure, folks, in terms of long-term price predictions, nobody knows for sure. I think GRT could reach, $10 to $50, I'd say. I know that's a wide range, but I think kind of like the tens of dollars makes sense for GRT over the long term. I think it probably makes more sense to speak in terms of scaling out and selling more so based off timeframes and less so based off particular price targets. Because look, I think this market is going to reach some kind of end at some point. We're in a bull market. At some point, we're going to hit a peak. At some point, we're going to hit a bear market. And at some point, we're going to have extended consolidation periods. It's how crypto moves. It's all driven by Bitcoin and the Bitcoin halvings. That's why there's boom and bust cycles in crypto. And according to a chart broken down by Trading Shot, does a really good job of breaking down the Bitcoin cycles, how Bitcoin moves in 4-year cycles. Bitcoin has a good chance of reaching its peak late September this year. And so I think GRT and the altcoins have a good chance of reaching their peak roughly a month after Bitcoin, because last cycle, the altcoins reached their peak roughly a month after Bitcoin. So around the end of this bull run, September, October, November, late third quarter, early fourth quarter is where I would be looking to scale out my altcoins, regardless of price. So whether GRT would be at $5, $10, or $100, I would just scale out more so based off time frames, less so based off price targets, because nobody knows for sure how high the market can go. But I think there's ways to understand how the market and when the market has a good chance of reaching some kind of peak. So that's the approach I'm taking in terms of scaling out long-term of my altcoin positions. And yeah, folks, so these are the support and resistance levels I'm looking out for. If anything interesting further happens with the graph GRT, we will definitely be talking about it on this channel and in our Discord group. Link to join that will be down in the description below as well. Join our Patreon, folks. You get access to, if you join our Patreon, our VIP Discord, where we look at low cap gems, interesting setups, catalysts, that kind of thing. Consider supporting us. Anyone who supports us whatever way they can is much highly appreciated. Thank you for watching. Take care.